Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Well, all right. Wow, is there a lot going on this evening as we break out another edition of Unscripted episode, Who the Hell Knows?
We'll get it figured out, Jay. That's my homework for the weekend.
Yeah,
is to go back and figure out how many shows we got. I'm just counting the ones we got on our Facebook because that's where we've always had them. So I'm going to go back, and tomorrow or Saturday before our show, I'm going to go and see how many shows we've done. And Jay, from here on out, starting probably Saturday, we're going to start numbering them again. So we know that we will do that. We can do milestones.
And if I don't have that information before Saturday, Logan, you will not get your bonus.
Oh, shit. My bonus! I'm still waiting for the salary.
Logan, let's not get technical now. And let's not talk finances because I don't even want Gonzo to know that he's not getting paid. I haven't told him that yet. So let's just keep it on
sponsors are out there.
Let's keep it on the down low, man, because I can't afford Gonzo. He's blowing up. This GSR thing.
I was about to say, man, Chris is about to be getting some top dollars soon.
Listen, this guy's top shelf, man, and we can't afford him, okay? But don't tell him we can't afford him. Yeah, thank you, Jesus, for the love of God. But no, hey, speaking of. Babyface Logan, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people? Like Jay said, oh my God, we have a lot. A lot has went down in the last 2 days in a lot of realms of sports and baseball and basketball, obviously, a little bit of football news. So, man, we got a lot to discuss tonight. I am ready for it.
And as always, our boy Gonzo from Gonzo's Sports Room, Gonzo's Wrestling Room, Gonzo's Podiatrist Room. I mean, the guy's got initials for days. Gonzo. How you doing, my brother?
I'm not doing too bad, man. Just been keeping track of all this crazy NBA shit that's been going on today.
You're not good, man. I don't even know how you keep track of it. There's so much going on, literally, and it just seems like it never stops. And I would not be surprised if there's a few more things that are going to hit the fan before we get there. But before we get to that, and there we are going to talk a lot of trade recap and what we think about the trades that have gone down. First, I'm going to let you know, man, you can find us on Twitter at Unscripted Guys. All one word, like you see it on the screen. Nope, you don't see it on the screen.
I got you, Jay.
Thank you.
Back up here.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. Jesus.
Come off the bench.
So on Twitter, man, hey, that's Frankie C's domain. He keeps us up to date. Unscripted Guys, all one word. And Logan does a great job over there on TikTok at Unscripted Sports. All one word. So check us out, Gonzo Sports Room. You can pretty much find that man everywhere you look. The same place we mentioned, he's there too. Twitch. All you got to do is Gonzo Sports Room. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everything you want to know about Gonzo, literally, all you got to do is put in Gonzo Sports Room on any one of those social media sites, and he will pop up. I assure you. But let's go ahead and let's get into some This half hour is sponsored by Mason Jar Whiskey.
Wow, look at that, Jay. Already pulling out sponsors. First, second
Listen,
of the show.
Man. Listen, this is just a cheap advertisement. Guys, listen, man. Let's talk a little bit of LeBron James, the King. Let me ask you guys, man. So LeBron is now the new scoring leader. That's him. He's it. The aficionado, by the way, as we all know. A few people did not look happy. AD was not happy. Kareem truly was not happy, but he put his best foot forward. But they were not happy that this man's record got broke. My question to you guys is, it's old news that he's broken the record. But what I'm asking you on this specific topic is, who's going to be the next one to break it? And how long is it going to take to break it? Just so you know, the new record is
390.
Thank you. I thought I wrote down I did. 38,390. So who's going to break it? And how long is it going to take? I think obviously right now the most realistic choice in my mind is probably not Dirk Nowitzki. That dude's dead and around. Help me out, Logan.
Durant.
No, Doncic. I don't know why I'm saying Durant.
Okay.
Luka Doncic. Why it was so hard to get that word out. Luka Doncic, in my opinion, because he's so young and he's off to a hot start scoring. He's doing, he's scoring like 33, 34 points a night. He's had a couple of 50 nights, 60 nights. The guy is just off the wall scoring. So I think he's probably the most legit guy to get. I think Durant, he's a little too injury prone. He's a little too spotty here and there. I don't know if he's going to have enough time, given at his age, if he's going to be able to do that. But I think Luka would be, in my opinion, the most likely to do it. And I think he's going to have to do a 20-year career. Honestly, he's going to have to do 20 plus. I don't think plus. I think 20. I think it's going to take 20 years, maybe 21 years, to break LeBron. Because you got to figure, I don't even know how many more years Bron's got in him. He just hit 20. He's got 2-3 more years. I mean, the dude,
not a whole lot longer. It's
going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
I'm about to say, it's obviously, Jay, it's going to reach, he's going to be the first player to ever get 40,000 points. He's going to be in his own class. And let's not, like you said, let's not forget the season. We still got half the season, and however many years left he wants to play. I know he said he wants to play with the Suns. So, that's still, I believe, 2 years away at minimum. So we'll see what goes on with that. But I think, as of right now, I'm with you, Jay. I got to go with Luka being the guy to, at best, get close to that record, because he scores a bunch of points, right?
Right.
Initially, off rip, I threw Trae Young out there, but Trae Young also gets a lot of assists, so that's gonna hurt him in terms of points. But yeah, I think just in terms of pure scoring, you got Luka right now. He's still, obviously he's done really well so far. First couple seasons. I looked at the top 10 list, Jay. Only, I guess you could say, quote unquote, active player left is Carmelo. He's not officially retired. He's still chilling in free agency. Right now, he's number 9 all time. And then the next best player, we got Durant, Kevin Durant, number 14. I can see Durant getting like the top 10, right? That wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
But there's no one even getting close, man. I see who here? We got Harden and Westbrook. Those are 27, 28. Those guys are both a little bit older too. So yeah, it's going to be quite some time, man. It's got to be someone who is definitely a score first type of player, like Luka is.
Yeah.
And it's, man, I don't know. It might stick around for another 40 years, depending on how much LeBron keeps padding to it.
Right. And Chris, just to build off of what Logan's saying, look, I think the 3 are Luka, Giannis, and probably Joker. Those would be my 3 that possibly are young enough and score enough that might be able to reach what Bron is doing. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be, if anybody does, I figure probably Luka. Just because he's only 23 years old, while he's like four years in,
right?
So, and if he keeps it up, hell, he might have a chance to beat Michael Jordan's scoring average at the way he's scoring points.
Yeah,
absolutely. And he's what? I think he's 23 or 24. Am I right?
23.
20.
So he's 23. Yeah, so literally, he's got 17 years of scoring. I think he does it. I'm not going to say he 100% because that's too far in advance.
Right.
But if anybody's going to have a good shot at touching Bron, it probably would be Luka.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay.
And also, go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Jay, check the unscripted chat. I sent you a message.
All right, roger that. Hey,
go
ahead.
No, but I was going to say, it's going to be hard, though, Jay, also because let's not forget LeBron came fresh out of high school. And now you basically have to play a season, either, for Luka case, he's overseas, but for a lot of American players, you got to either go in the G League or you're going to have to go to at least 1 year of college, which is just, a year knocked off of your career for the NBA. So that definitely helped out LeBron getting this record in terms of, beating Kareem, beating Jordan, beating all those guys because he came fresh out of high school.
Yeah. And let me ask you this.
Also, Luka is, 23. He's turning 24 into the month.
Yeah, right. So he's 23, 24, 16, 18, 17. He's got about that much time to catch Bron. I think he's got the best chance to do it. But let me ask one more question real quick. What do you think is more impressive? I know his scoring title is sexy. I mean, it's, everybody loves scoring titles, right? We don't really talk about assists all that much. But I got to be honest. I mean, I know that the assist is a very unsexy pick, but I love it, man. I love the assist because that means you're getting your teammates involved and you're doing things like that. How important or how much emphasis do you put on the assist record compared to the scoring record?
Ooh, I would say in terms of I still think that the scoring title is more impressive, but the assist title also super impressive because you got to be on good teams. You got to be with a team who has good shooters or good big men, whatever it may have you. But I think there's still a couple of guys in the league who have a better shot at getting the assist title than the scoring title for sure.
Man, what a time to be alive. Gonzo, what do you think, man? Assists, scoring, how are you looking at that?
I kind of agree with Logan. I think the scoring title means a little more, but the assist title, because like Logan says, with the assist, you're dependent on a lot of other people. You have to be on a good team because it don't matter how good of a passer you are if the guys can't hit shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I definitely agree with you. That's true. I mean, that's a good point. Man, what a time to be alive, man. I can't believe it's cool that we saw the breaking of the record in our lifetime. I mean, it took 40 years to do it. I'm glad at least we got to see, the record get broke. Hopefully we'll be around when the next one comes, but I mean, I don't know if I will. I think I'll be 67, 70, but we'll see what happens. Logan will probably be 15 and Gonzo will probably be 30.
You'll still be kicking.
I hope so.
I was about to say, we'll all still be around.
Hey, I got one more piece of, and it's not really breaking news because it happened literally a couple of days ago, but one more thing I just want to kind of talk about, and then we'll get into these trades and all the craziness that happened over the last 2 days, is Michael Irvin, man. Again, my thing about it is they still don't know. They still have not come forward with any information. Even today when I looked on the most recent thing about it, there's still absolutely zero information from the league, from the media, from the supposed woman that did the complaint. All we have on it is that she made a complaint. They had Michael Irvin move his room to another, I think a whole different hotel or something, and that he's not going to be part of the Super Bowl coverage. And I just don't, for the life of me, man, I just can't imagine what this man did in a freaking lobby, whether it was a handshake or verbal. I mean, what could he have said in 45 seconds that would have got this lady this pissed off? I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, Logan, what do you think about this Irvin situation?
It's you hate to see it because Michael Irvin's had a troubled past with legal issues and whatnot, and he's been doing good here lately, and I hate to see he got kicked out of the Super Bowl coverage and everything. Obviously, it's a big payday for him, big event for him. But like you said, we don't have a whole lot of information on what happened or what was said. So we can't really comment a whole lot on that. But, obviously it was something to the effect of that the NFL and their partners didn't agree with. So they felt they had to remove Irving from the coverage. And for him, I mean, definitely hate to see it, but, just hopefully you can learn from whatever happened and move forward.
Gonzo, do you think that the NFL told Michael Irvin what the woman complained about, but they instructed him not to say anything about it if he wanted to keep his job? I mean, what do you think's going on with this?
Man, this is a confusing ass story. I've tried to find more information on it and haven't been able to really. I think the only explanation I can get is kind of what you said. I think something happened, and the NFL is trying to keep it under wraps until after the Super Bowl because they don't want that to become the focus over the game.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Irvin probably knows.
Why else would they remove him from the coverage? That makes no sense.
I feel like after the game is over, we'll see what
investigation
happens. We'll figure out what happened.
I just cannot. And if it happened the way Irvin said it happened, and there's only a 45-second exchange with the woman he doesn't even know in a hotel lobby, what could he have possibly said in 45 damn seconds that would be so detrimental as to pull him from this? I don't know. It blows my mind. I think like Gonzo said, there's probably more to this. I think the NFL is covering it up, and I think it's going to be a hot minute before we find out anything.
Hey, Anthony, Jay's got something special for you. Jay, I think it's perfect. Segue, brother. It's your time to shine.
Oh, snapperoo. Yes. This
is a Jay McLovin solo segment right here.
Hey, we're going to talk about State of the Union with the Cowboys. And before I go to solo segment, I want you to take a really hard, long, sexy or unsexy look at the three sons of bitches that are on the screen. And out of the three sons of bitches, the main son of a bitch, the one that's in the middle, is the source of all of my pain, my therapy, my developing a slighter thick skin. It's impeccable what these three stooges can do to an organization. And how the hell Jerry Jones is so popular, or the franchise, I should say, is so popular is beyond fucking me. Because I'll be honest with you, this man has done everything he can do to run the Cowboys into the ground. And for some God-for-known reason, they still have a huge-ass fan base. I don't know about you, but that's got to be the number one mystery of the freaking world. It's got to be the number one mystery of the world. Let me break it down for you if I can. And I don't have any fancy music to play like President Biden had in his whack-ass State of the Union that he gave. I don't know if y'all caught his State of the Union, but it was freaking garbage-filled bullshit. But anyway, we won't go political. We're not going to go political tonight, Jay. We're not. We're not going political. So let's focus back at the task.
Back in Dallas.
Yes. So for the past 25 plus years, I can honestly tell you the State of the Union has not really changed. Only thing it's really done is went from Tony Romo to Dak Prescott. We had a little bit of bullshit with some Quincy Carter and whatever in between. But pretty much it's Romo and Dak, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, and the one common denominator between the two is Kellen Moore, which is no longer here. Rest in peace. Now we got the retread. We got the retread, or if you want to say the Kellen Moore 2.0 version, Brian Schottenheimer. Again, if you know anything about Brian Schottenheimer, he's a Jerry Jones guy, and if you know anything about that, it's status freaking quo past 25. That's the State of the Union. Now let's talk about it for a minute. Now, as we all know, the Cowboys need three positions in the draft. Three positions we need to fill. You got the offensive line, the wide receiver, and the cornerback. Secondary, wide receiver one, and an offensive lineman. Because God knows if Tyrone Smith is going to retire. I think Tyrone Smith either retires or moves on. I don't know. I will tell you, he was right there with Lyle Collins in terms of being injured. So they really should have traded both of them, brought in two new guys. But they still got Charlie McGovern to deal with. They got Steele to deal with, which is the two healthy offensive linemen that got them here. But they got to get the free agent signed. But they got other people to sign. Take that as you will. We don't know when we're going to get Tony Pollard back. We don't know what version of Tony Pollard we're going to get. So let that be as it may. Now, I have taken the liberty of putting three draft prospects that hopefully maybe one of the three or two of the three will fall to the Cowboys between the first and second rounds. I think wide receiver, Josh Downs out of UNC, 5'10", but a speedy route runner. I think he can play the wide receiver one. Put CeeDee Lamb back over to the slot where he should be. I think if you look at the offensive lineman, you got John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota, the 6'4", 320 with good hands. I think he'd be a great offensive lineman there. Or you can go with TJ Bass out of Oregon if he's gone at 6'4", 325. Again, another one with good hands and good quick feet. So either one of those two would be perfect, or even both if he can swing it. I don't know how, but if he can swing it. And then as far as cornerbacks, Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State, 6'2", 194, fast as hell. Those are the guys I'd be looking at to see if you can fit them in where you draft in the first, second, and third. Of course, you're going to go best available. So if Joey Porter's there, I would probably take Joey Porter first, get that out the way, and then you may take Bass and then a wide receiver down the road, because there still are plenty of wide receivers out there. So, but I would definitely snag up Joey Porter if he's there and if he's available. I know the latest mock draft I saw had them taking Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama, and if they do that, I'm personally going to pay Jerry Jones a visit, and I'm going to demand answers because I'm tired of 25 years of wasted life on this bullshit. So, one more thing I want to point out real quick is free agents. I've talked about the draft. The other place I think the Cowboys, if they want to improve this team, they've got to look at some free agents. If you want to go after Keenan Allen or OBJ, I would recommend going after Keenan Allen first, and I'd probably put OBJ second, just because I think Keenan Allen is a lot healthier than OBJ. And I think either one of those guys would make a great wide receiver one to pair up. And again, there's ways you can address those three positions, right? Draft, free agency. And they've got to look at free agency to make it work. I think Dak throws for 4,800 yards next season. And I think he gives you 20 touchdowns, but I also think he gives you 15 interceptions, which, again, is why I call it status freaking quo. And, again, we'll make the playoffs. And I really suspect, since Mike McCarthy is calling the plays, that we may not even make it to the wild card. If you really believe in Mike McCarthy, I don't know. I don't really believe in Mike McCarthy, just to be honest with you. I don't believe in Mike McCarthy. But maybe he does. Maybe his play calling is going to be amazing. Maybe they do. Maybe they can avoid the injuries. We'll see. At the end of the day, though, I'm going to wrap this State of the Union up by saying you this. The narrative only changes for the Cowboys. The State of the Union only changes for the Cowboys when one of two things happens. Either A, Jerry Jones passes away, rest in peace, or B, he steps down, and maybe Steven, obviously he's just going to stay in the Jones family, so maybe he steps down, passes the torch over to Steven, and then maybe Steven will actually get a GM, and then the GM will do GM-like things and resurrect his Cowboys back to the glory days of the early 90s when Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer combined. Really more Jimmy Johnson. But I got to throw Barry Switzer in there so I don't look like I'm being biased. But that's the State of the Union, folks. That's the answer. I've told you how you can change the narrative. But until that change happens, as they say in Puxatawny Phil didn't see his shadow, so he took his ass back inside, turned on the TV, and grabbed a nice cold beer. And that's the State of the Union of the Cowboys.
And Jay, a follow-up question here from our media member. Anthony Price said, how do you make the playoffs but not the wild? So do you have them missing the playoffs or at best hitting the wild card?
No, I'm saying I could honestly see Mike McCarthy calling his own plays, befuddling himself, and missing the playoffs. What I mean by missing the playoffs is obviously not getting the wild card. I think if they're not careful enough, that the Giants could improve in the draft or free agency and eclipse the Cowboys is what I'm getting at.
There you go. Well, Jay, that is the state of the Dallas Cowboys heading into the 2023 offseason. What do we have up next, Jay?
That was like giving birth and then experiencing postpartum depression.
Oh, brother.
All right, folks.
Get your water ready.
Oh, here we go. Logan, if you don't mind, may I start?
Of course, Jay. We have a lot of trades, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on them because we got so many to talk about. But Jay, start things off, brother.
If you don't mind, in the chat room at ASAP,
okay,
there has been lots and lots of discussion about the Phoenix Suns and the acquisition of Kevin Durant. And I want to tell you why this was absolutely the worst thing I have ever seen in my entire life. This was worse than when Kevin Durant went to the Nets for all those draft picks and then was on the sideline and controversies and left and right and whatever. This is worse than that. You know why? Because here's the deal. Number one, Kevin Durant is still not healthy to play yet. Number two, he has a history of being sick or hurt or ill or just taking load management or whatever it is that he's not on the court consistently. And then number three, you gave up 4 freaking draft picks, 2 players for most likely a part-time lover in Kevin Durant. I'm just saying, Logan, the best prediction of future behavior is past behavior. And if you look at the past behavior or the past performance of Kevin Durant or lack thereof, but due to injury, you gave up the whole damn farm. Not just one cow. You gave up the whole farm and put it all on Kevin Durant. And then I saw in one of the posts, they said, well, who's going to be the leader of the team? Is it going to be Katie or Booker? And I said neither, because neither one of them, in my opinion, is a real leader. It's going to be CP freaking 3. And we all know it. Logan?
So, yeah, for that one, Jay, full trade details here. Phoenix Suns get, obviously, Kevin Durant, as you mentioned. Also, TJ Warren was in the deal.
Yeah.
But the Brooklyn Nets received Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, who we'll mention here in a minute, who's no longer with the team. 4 first-round draft picks in 2023, 25, 27, and 2029. And also a 2028 first-round pick swap, just depending on how those teams are 5 years from now. Quick comments on that. Obviously, the biggest trade of the deadline. We'll talk about, I'm going to bring up the one that got overshadowed by it next. But, yeah, obviously you can see that Phoenix is pushing all their chips in, Jay. They were struggling this year, right? They're barely above 500, I believe. So they figured. Also, I want to give Jay, I think you got to give a shout out to their brand new owner, Matt. Was it Ashiba? Jay, he was there for one day and he made this trade. that I will give him credit for that, man, for just having the balls to go out and make that trade week 1 of your tenure. So much credit to that. We'll see how it pays off for him. But yeah, we'll see how this works out for Phoenix. Obviously, they're kind of going the Lakers route of just pushing all their chips in for right now. And man, you got to say that the Nets probably one of the most cursed franchises in basketball, maybe in sports. I mean, they had 3 MVPs on their roster a season ago, Jay, and now none of them are there. So they got a bunch of draft picks, but you know, I think Brooklyn will be fine. I think they're going to be a bottom feeder team. They have a lot of good pieces. You know, you got Seth Curry, you got Johnson, who scored 40 points a couple nights ago, and then you know now you get a bunch of these guys who are I mean, they're fine players. They're not like all-stars, I don't believe. But I like Mikal Bridges, though. I feel like that was a big piece that Phoenix had to give away for this to get done. Who you know, he was a big factor in them in the championship run. So that hates to see, but man, Phoenix, they're going all for it, Jay. All right, next trade, probably the second biggest trade you could say. The Los Angeles Lakers, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Utah Jazz. So we got a lot to discuss here. The Lakers, they reacquire D'Angelo Russell. They also get Malik Beasley as well as Jared Vanderbilt. Minnesota Timberwolves get Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones, as well as a 2024, 25, and 26 second-round draft pick. And the Utah Jazz get Russell Westbrook, as well as the Lakers' 2027 first-round draft pick, which is a top 4 protected pick, that one is. Jay, your thoughts on this monumental multiplayer, multi-pick trade?
You know, I feel like from the Lakers end of it, I mean, D'Lo's probably the best of all of the players that you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of just, you know, half-ass, I don't want to say half-ass, but, you know, just middle rung role player guys. Okay. D'Lo, I don't know how much D'Lo is going to have in him when he comes over, man. I'm not a real big D'Angelo Russell fan. If it had been now, if you just said Ingram or anybody like that from the old Laker days, because this is D'Lo's second time with the Lakers, and I wasn't impressed with him the first time they had him. So I don't know if I'm going to be impressed with him the second time around. So if you ask me what I think about this trade is, I think the Lakers, they did move Russell Westbrook, so that I guess that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, you're really still no better off than you were before. I think, maybe at best you're a play-in. There's certainly enough games left to be played that they can get a play-in, but I don't see them beyond play-in. And I think play-in is a stretch sometimes. But if they get the play-in, then I don't think they go further than that. They don't have the arsenal. And you don't even still know if AD and LeBron can stay healthy all the way to the end. We know that AD's back on the court. We got him back, or they got him back, and we'll see how that transpires. But between their health issues, or I should say health concerns, and the moderate players that they picked up, I don't see this being, other than moving Russell Westbrook, which I don't even know why you moved Russell Westbrook. The hell, by the time this is his last year of the contract, and he's actually doing pretty good. He's up for sixth man of the year. I didn't look at his field goal percentage, so I don't want to go too far down that road. But either way, man, it's just a lukewarm feeling.
And Jay, before this topic came up, we did have a topic in there about Westbrook and Darvin Ham going at it a little bit, a little bit of a scuffle, nothing physical, obviously, but you could see, I guess maybe in the locker room it didn't work out. Because like I said, that stuff we don't see,
right?
And I think this was a win for the Lakers. They've been wanting to get rid of Russ for the last year and a half. You get rid of him, you only gave up one first-round pick as opposed to multiple, which is good. Plus, they got three role players, Jay, who they need. They need shooters. They got shooters with Beasley. With Russell, that's going to help out. And Vanderbilt's a young prospect, which they need some young players. So
right.
I think the Lakers did well for what they did. Minnesota, they got a lot of guys who, Conley's a vet. And you got a bunch of younger guys kind of with Walker, Anderson, and Jones who, they're not going to do a whole lot. Those aren't big pieces there. And then for Utah, I don't know if they're going to keep on to Russell, Jay, because we know he's had some bad history in Utah with fans and whatnot. Yeah. So I could definitely see him getting bought out. But overall, I think the Lakers probably the biggest winner out of this. Still not like a huge trade, but like I said, Russell is no longer in an LA uniform. Jay, what's the next trade we got here you want to speak on?
Oh man, by the way, I think we've all said that Russell Westbrook most likely might wind up in Chicago, so we'll see that.
Yeah, Chicago and the Clippers. Those are the two kind of big potential targets. So what's up there, Shay?
I do want to kind of hit on one Rockets thing, and I'm on this. Number one, and Logan, I know you don't understand. I don't understand how the Houston gives up John Wall only to reacquire him, only to buy him out. Like, I don't understand. I know they probably did that to make the trade probably work for monetary reasons, but did that really help the Rockets? I don't think so.
I don't get, Jay, this one puzzles me because obviously the Rockets, right? I think they have the worst record in the league right now.
Well, they're absolutely the worst.
So they pick up John Wall, who he hasn't played a whole lot this year. He just bashed the Rockets like 2 weeks ago, saying that it wasn't the most professional environment yet, and so on and so forth. You get Danny Green, who, he's an older vet. But honestly, Jay, I'm looking at the 2023 first-round pick that you got. Houston, you gave up your boy Eric Gordon. He went to the Clippers. Clippers also got 3 second-round draft picks. And the Grizzlies, they got Luke Kennard from the Clips. So I don't know, Jay. Does this really affect any team a whole lot? Is there a majority winner in this, you would say?
And again, I think the Clippers did great in that because Eric Gordon, he is 34. But one thing about Eric Gordon is he's still giving you, 13 points off the bench. He's still clutch when he hits the three. I mean, he's a clutch outside shooter. And that's probably maybe what the Clippers need, a little bit of outside shoot. And he does play defense. So I think all in all, for what they gave up, I think they – and don't forget, they got 3 second-round picks along with Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that was a good trade for the Clippers, honestly. The Houston Rockets, not so much. What did we get? A whack-ass Danny Green. Really? We got a whack-ass Danny Green, and I think he came from Memphis. And most likely they're going to buy his contract out and release him.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't know, man. I think Houston's just getting suckered the whole way around, to be honest with you. I don't know what they're doing over there.
All right,
I don't think they know what they're doing.
Next kind of bigger name trade here, Jay. We mentioned Jay Crowder. He was also on the move. Jay Crowder now is a Milwaukee Buck. The Brooklyn Nets got 2 second-round draft picks, and Chris Gonzo, his team, the Pacers, they end up getting Jordan Nwora, George Hill, who, I found that kind of funny, Jay. They drafted George Hill over Kawhi Leonard. Now he's back with the squad. Also, Serge Ibaka, who I think they've already let go, as well as 3 second-round picks. I like the move by Milwaukee in this one, man. This is really going to help them out. With Middleton kind of being on and off the court with the injuries and whatnot this year. And Crowder, I know he hasn't played a whole lot, if at all, this year. But, I mean, that's going to help you out in the playoffs. I mean, you got to have those guys who can defend, and that's what Crowder's there for. Defend and hit a couple threes. That's all you need. And, I mean, Milwaukee's already a great team, and I think they really added with this. And they didn't give up, like I said, they didn't give up a whole lot. They gave up Hill and Ibaka, who were bench pieces. It wasn't like they're big starters. But I think that's an upgrade all in all for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think what Milwaukee gave up was some fill-in pieces. Not a big deal, not going to affect the team. But I think what they got in return was so much better because they needed a Jay Crowder, much like they gave up when they lost in what's his name, PJ Tucker, when he went to the 76ers. Crowder's kind of that PJ Tucker defender, junkyard dog mentality. He kind of makes the Bucks a little tougher in the paint, a little tougher on defense. And I think that Jay Crowder, he's not going to give you a lot of scoring points, but what he does on the defensive side of the ball and what he does in terms of his junkyard mentality is going to more than make up for that, because I think that's what they've been lacking. When they lost PJ Tucker, that was a big loss for them in terms of their nastiness, their toughness, their durability. So I think that's a good pickup for them. And then when you look at, what the Pacers got and what the Nets got, they all got picks. Pacers got 3 second-rounders. Brooklyn got 2. So, hey, look, anytime you're building your draft pick stock up, you can't go wrong there because there's a lot of people you can pick up in the draft to really get you moving. So, I mean, I think all 3 of them made out, honestly.
Yeah, I think those are good trades.
Yeah, man. I mean, all they're doing is stockpiling picks.
Right. All right, any other ones you want to bring up before we just kind of speed run through these?
Yeah. Actually, the one I wanted to pick up on was the one on it was the most recent one, I believe. It was the one that had help me out. No, it was what was that dude's name? I can't think of it right off the top of my head. There was one current one that just happened, like a big name that just literally just happened not that long ago. But it's not hitting me right now. Right now, it's not hitting me upside the head. It's not hitting me upside the head for right now. It might have been the Josh Richardson to the Pelicans.
Richardson moved. Richardson's going to New Orleans. Exchange for Devontae Graham and 4 second-round picks. That's what San Antonio got back. I mean, San Antonio, they're not doing nothing. Like you said, they're stockpiling draft picks. Right. And New Orleans is an interesting team, Jay. They've got on paper, they've got a pretty solid roster. So I think this improves both teams. Let's see what else we got here around the league. The Lakers, they also got rid of Patrick Beverley and a second-round pick for Mo Bamba.
Wow.
The Lakers need a big guy. They got rid of Thomas Bryant as well.
Yeah, you're right. They do need a big guy, and they have enough at the point guard position.
Yeah, they didn't need Beverly. Thomas Bryant was traded to Denver for Devon Reed, and the Lakers also got 3 second-round draft picks, which that's the real thing they needed there. Devon Reed, I think he's kind of more of a defensive player, which obviously helps LA. And Jay, this kind of reminds me of the Cavaliers back in 2018. Whenever they traded their whole roster. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not to that extent, but it's given me flashbacks to that. And I guess also, Jay, 2 more things I guess we can move on here. My team, the Hawks, we got a four-team trade. I think the only one we had. Atlanta gets Sadiq Bey. Detroit got James Wiseman from Golden State.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's see. Golden State gets Gary Payton back, and then Portland gets Kevin Knox, who hasn't played a whole lot, as well as 5 future second-round picks. Doesn't say what years. But yeah,
back up. You see, you said Golden State got Gary Payton, second back.
No, sorry. Okay, yeah, Gary Payton the second is now back in Golden State.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
Yeah, because he really was a big part of that championship.
The defense that he brought to that team was huge. I'm telling you, man. That was one of the reasons why I felt like they were sliding down. Outside of obviously Curry's second injury, but man, that defense was lacking, and I think that's where I felt like they were missing Gary Payton the second, and then two. The thing with Wiseman, the fact that they moved on from Wiseman, wow. I kind of figured they were doing that or leaning in that direction, but wow.
He was in the G League earlier this year, so obviously things weren't going well, and they decided to just kind of cut the cord and move on. And now he gets a fresh start in Detroit, kind of like how Marvin Bagley, what Detroit did with Bagley, just I think maybe last year or the year prior. As for Atlanta, we get Sadiq Bey. Looked him up, Jay. 23. He's a young guy out of Villanova. Let's see. He's averaging his career, averages about 14.5 points, 35% three-point shooter. So I'd say that's what Atlanta needs. They didn't give up really any of their big names. They kept John Collins and Bogdanovich and whatnot. So obviously they're still trying to make a little bit of a run at it. Also, and then we can move on after this if you feel like it. Our teams, we made a trade, Jay. Atlanta and Houston. I think it was the last trade before the deadline ended for some bench players. Atlanta got who do we get? Garrison Matthews and Bruno Fernando, who was on the roster a couple of years ago. For Houston, Jay, you get Justin Holiday, brother of Aaron and brother of Drew, also also Frank the Tank Kaminsky. Those are guys who they might not even be on the roster.
And we did get 2 second-round picks. Thank God, we got some picks, but. Let me ask you this, man. You know more about because it came from your team. I knew who Justin Holiday was related to. I didn't really know anything about Frank Kaminsky, but how would you rate these guys?
Obviously these are bench players. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kaminsky, he's almost 30. He's kind of just a average player. Obviously, he averages not even 3 points a game. These are guys who are going to be end of rotation, not doing a whole lot. But yeah, these guys don't move the needle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't understand why we're bringing in guys that are 33 freaking years old when we're trying to go with a more youthful movement.
How about that? You get how old Justin Holiday? I know Holiday's in.
Holiday's 33.
Is he? Wow, sure enough.
Yeah.
So you get Justin Holiday.
He's got some
Kaminsky's who's almost 30. Plus you get John Wall, who's in his 30s. Also, I don't know what's going on in Houston, man. That's strange. But all right, well, I think we covered. There's obviously a lot more. But yeah, those are just kind of the ones that stuck out to us. Like I said, a couple of other teams made some moves, but those are kind of the ones that stuck out the most, man.
Whew. All right, man. Hey, listen, it is what it is, but damn. All right. Hey, it is what it is. What are you going to do? Let's go. I guess we can go ahead and hit up the Tatis thing. We got about 17 minutes. We can probably knock out this Tatis. Look, here's my thing. Tatis is coming back to the Padres. This dude's been out for a hot minute. He's been pissed off. He's ready to go. He said, look, my question to you is, I know he's going to be ready to go. My question is, where do you put him? Because now you got Bogarts that you got to put at the shortstop position after what you gave him. And then after, so if you got Bogarts going there, you got, what's the guy, I hope I say his name right, Ha-Sung Kim.
Ha-Sung Kim, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to play second. Cronenworth is going to play first. So that really just leaves
at least third.
I think he plays left or right opposite of Juan Soto.
Who they got third base, Jay? Who's their third baseman?
So the third baseman for them is going to be Machado.
Oh, you're right. Shoot. Yeah,
Manny Machado actually playing shortstop, but because of Bogarts, they slid him over to third.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean,
So
obviously,
that really puts Tatis in the outfield.
I don't think it's gonna be like a jarring transition, Jay. Obviously, we know this dude's got immense talent. But I do think that being out for a whole season hurts. Obviously, it was the injury, and then it turned out that he was using some performance enhancers, which that's a no-no. So
that's a huge no-no.
I would say
But let me ask you this: the fact that he was out for however many months and months,
yeah, he's out for a whole season.
He did get 2 surgeries done, one on his shoulder, one on his wrist, and they said he's right about 90% recovered from both surgeries. Could it make him better because now he's not dealing with? Hopefully, he won't be dealing with those nagging injuries.
I mean, I think obviously surgeries are very tricky, Jay. Sometimes Jay, they can come back stronger. Sometimes it could hamper them. We haven't seen them on the field, so we can't tell. It would not shock me one bit if we see him kind of struggle at the gates for the first month or two. And then, as he gets back into playing shape, we'll say, and also just, seeing the ball, right. And also, snagging balls in the outfield and whatnot, learning a new position. It would not surprise me one bit if he struggles early on in the year, if you want to struggle, that's the time to do it in baseball. Do it in the first month or two. Do it when you can have anyone be in first place and it won't matter. But I think that obviously the Padres are in a good position in the NL West. The Dodgers have been kind of iffy. Hasn't been a routine Dodgers free agency in terms of just getting all the big players and everything like that. The Diamondbacks and the Giants, they're there. It just depends. I mean, the Giants, we saw, they almost, I don't know if they won the division, not last year, but the year prior, but they were close, got over 100 wins. I know they struggled this past year, but, I think that overall the Padres will do fine this year. I think Tatis will come back. But I think he'll have a good year. I don't think it'll be MVP levels, but I don't think he'll just be out there just not know what to do. So I think he'll have a solid year back on the field, hopefully healthy too.
Oh, hell yeah. And again, man, if he does come back fully ready to go, man, and he is they said he has resumed baseball activity. So he is actually actively, playing. So, man, if he comes back anywhere near where he was at, man, geez, and I don't think he will, but man, that line is going to be pretty damn scary.
Plus they also too, Jay, they just signed Darvish to a 6-year extension. They did that a little bit earlier today. Let me check out the cash there.
It was I think 110, either 106 or 110 million over 6.
6 year, 108 million. So right in the middle.
108 million. Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. Darvish right now. How old is he? He's
in his 30s.
I'm getting it pulled up here. Hold on. It says what you. Oh wow. He's 36. I didn't know he's that old.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be 42. Which is pretty old for pitchers. I mean, there's
he's not some tread on the tire.
There's not a whole lot of players in their 40s. You might see 40 as the cap. I'm curious though, because I know Kershaw. Let's see, Clayton Kershaw's 34, so he's 2 years younger. And then your boy, well, I guess formerly Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
How old is he? Probably 39.
39. Well, he'll be 40.
Yeah, Verlander's 39, turning 40 in like a week or two. So 42. I don't know if he'll be there that whole contract, Jay. That's tough.
I don't think he plays out the whole contract. I mean, like I said, that's a lot of wear and tear on the tires. So I don't know if he plays the whole contract. And maybe that might be what the Padres are betting on. But I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing, man. With Tatis, he was the face of baseball up until about 2022. He was heading towards that direction. Now that he's got the steroid thing against him and he's coming back, can he regain that position again? Or has he given up and now has somebody else taken it over, like an Ohtani, a Judge, or whatever? Has somebody else taken his spot?
Yeah, and and we'll see. Obviously, like you mentioned, then we can move on. He was one of the most probably the most electric and popular player there for a couple months. And then, like you said, injuries as well as just taking some drugs that that hurt him last year, and now he's kind of got to rebuild his image and rebuild it with some solid play. Jay, that'll cure everything, I think.
Yeah, well, winning cures everything. That's for sure.
All right. I think this is the last one.
Devontae wants the Raiders to basically trade for Rodgers. We know what the Pro-Am, all the fans were shouting Raiders and stuff like that. And when pushed to ask Aaron Rodgers about it, he said, "Well, you can hear what they want." And so he was kind of nonchalantly vague about it. But then when he was pushed a little bit more, he's like, "Look, I don't even know if I want to play football. I may want to retire. I may want to do other things. I don't know. So what am I going to do? I'm going to tell you what he's going to do, Logan. He is going to go sit for 4 days or however long he got his little stint there booked for. But he's going to be for a little while. I believe it was 4 days in a dark therapy environment.
And basically, I'm about to say, from what I saw, it's just you're sitting there in silence and pitch black. You can't see nothing, can't hear nothing. I mean, it's wild, Jay. I don't know. It's some form of clearing the mind, I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I could do it. I think I would get bored with it in the first 20 minutes, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm done. I done thought about everything I need to think about. I'm good.
I just want to hang out. After a little bit, I just want to fall asleep as much as I can. So, I mean, I guess he won't be able to eat. I don't know. I don't know, Jay. What are you going to do in complete darkness?
Yeah, you can't go 4 days without food. He'll eat.
I'll just get some protein bars.
Yeah, I mean,
what's he going to do?
I think it's kind of funny because, look, you and I know, unless they got a commode in there, he ain't spending 4 days in that thing. Oh. He coming out to go find a restroom somewhere.
It says it's a small house, so it's not like he's in a cave or something. But it's kind of strange. I'm trying to look more into it to see if there's anything. But no, it's just pretty much he's going on this excursion, which we've learned about Aaron Rodgers in recent years. He has we'll say a very unique habits off the field. We'll say with that, right? Probably along the lines of a Bill Walton, we'll say. Is that fair?
He may be a little stranger than Bill Walton.
I was about to say, well,
I mean, we might be borderline. I don't know. I don't even know what there is out there. I mean, it's sure, almost like a hippie. It's almost like this hippie Buddhist. It's almost like he's in this Buddhist, religion type of thing now. You know what I mean?
I'm about to say,
kind of going down that direction.
I just know wherever Aaron's at, I'm sure he's got some Grateful Dead blaring or something, man.
But typically those darkroom therapies and things that are like that, those are kind of Buddhist or Hindu type things. No, for real. Like I actually Googled some of the stuff, and there's various levels of this dark therapy. I mean, it gets, like I said, a lot of it's just some yoga thrown in. There's some very Buddhism type things that they do. Now, I don't know how involved what Aaron's is going to be. It may just be him sitting in a dark room and contemplating the meaning of life. I don't know.
Right.
But what I saw online, a lot of these different, and the thing is, Logan, these packages are expensive. Like, I see people out there spending thousands of dollars to go sit in these dark rooms for however long they do it. They do provide them meals and things like that.
Right.
But,
okay.
And they're vegan meals. They're not even like regular meals. They're like these vegan type meals or these protein shakes or whatever they call them. I mean, it's really weird, but they charge you. I mean, they charge you a good, bit of money to go sit in the dark. I mean, I can go sit in my closet and be in the dark. I don't know what he needs to do that for, but
yeah, anyways, back to Devontae Adams. I'll keep it short, man. I mean, the Raiders need a quarterback. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If they don't draft a quarterback in the draft this year, obviously, I would love to see him go get Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got 2 years left on his deal, I think. Right. I mean, he's not a scrub. It ain't like he's throwing for 45 picks and he's sucking like he was Russell Wilson last year. But I mean, short-term fix. But like I said, I don't know, Jay. I don't know if I would. I was kind of wanting Brady a little bit more, but obviously he's done for now. But I'm cool with Aaron Rodgers also. But like I said, if we don't get a quarterback in the draft, I would think we'd have to go out and get him. But hey, we'll see though.
Well, that's the thing, though. If you bring in like an Aaron Rodgers or another quarterback like that or whatever, or I don't know who else you bring in. Maybe a Lamar Jackson or whatever.
I mean,
I'm not saying bringing in Lamar, but what I'm saying is if you go after a high profile type quarterback and you put him in with the Raiders, you're going to play yourself out of getting one of those playing.
Yes.
But again, where are the Raiders sitting at right now? I think could they trade and get to the number 1 spot?
Honestly, Jay, that wouldn't be that kind of far-fetched because right now I'm getting the draft pulled up here. Yeah, they're the number 7 in the draft right now.
Right.
So I mean, if you can get that, I mean, and a player, I don't know who, right? Obviously, I'm not assuming any of that to Chicago or even who was number 2? Houston. Yeah,
and then Colts,
even just one of those.
3.
If you feel that you can't get a quarterback at the number 7 slot, which I think they can, I think you can still. There's maybe 3 or 4 really top tier quarterbacks, and not all the teams need one. But I mean, I do think they have. If they want to move up, they can. So just like I said, super quick. Chicago does need a quarterback. Houston, yes. Arizona, no. Indianapolis, yes. Denver. It's Seattle's pick. Depends on what they do with Geno. It probably looks like they're going to re-sign him. Detroit, I think Detroit rocks it with Jared Goff for a little bit.
I think Detroit goes defense and looks for a weekend where Anderson could come into play if he's still on the board.
Yep, and then there's Vegas right there at 7. So I think they've got a good shot. That's what a majority of the teams who do not need a quarterback right there. So, yeah, I think it could fall into their laps. But if they need to move up, then they've definitely got some pieces to do it.
And if the Raiders did want to move up, they'd have to give up more than just a 7th pick. They'd have to throw in a 2nd or something to make it, worthwhile.
Yes, and that's it.
Crazy, man. Well, I don't know, man. Hey, we'll see what happens with your team, man. I think there's a lot of craziness out there.
Interesting offseason. I'm excited for free agency, man. It's going to be fun.
Let me ask you one last thing, man. When it comes to CMC, man, he felt like the Super Bowl got stolen from him because they weren't allowed to carry a third quarterback on their roster. That obviously they had Josh Johnson, they had what's his face, Purdy, and then they had
Purdy.
That's it. That's all they had with those 2. And when one went down, the other one was there, and he went worse shit. But if they could have had that third quarterback in there, that would do something for them. So currently, from 1991 to 2010, rosters were allowed to carry a third quarterback, but not be counted against the roster limit. Now that went away in 2010, but they did increase the number from 45 to 46, and I believe that's talking about the playoffs. So, I mean, how would you? Do you feel like that they should go back to that where you're allowed to carry a third quarterback but have them not count against the roster like they did back in the day?
I think so, Jay. I think, obviously if it was in place for all those years, for almost 20 years, because like you said, once Purdy went down, they were pretty much screwed. But then you're like, okay, we got Josh Johnson. But, I mean, that was it. That was just a big obstacle to overcome. Someone who hasn't played much at all. I think maybe played like 2 snaps the whole season. But if let's just say, Jay, if they would have picked up some veteran, right, who was out of the league for a year, still could play, but they had him on there as a layaway, I would rather have taken him over probably Josh Johnson. But
true.
Anthony Price agrees. He said the rules should be changed for the playoffs. Playoffs, of course, we're only talking playoffs here, Anthony. I don't think, teams only carry 3 quarterbacks on their roster at most. They usually cut that 4th in the preseason. But I'm cool with them expanding it for one more spot. But unfortunately for 49ers fans, that's just the way the cards are dealt sometimes, man. And but hey, no one even thought they'd get that far. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I got one last question for you, and this is one thing that we did not talk about the NBA trade, but I did want to ask you. Yeah. Minnesota picked up Mike Conley from the Jazz.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Did we talk about Mike Conley?
We didn't mention Mike Conley in general.
Well, what does Mike Conley do to help the T-Wolves get, or does he make an impact difference, or is it just kind of?
I think obviously he's going to be a bench piece as he's been kind of the last couple of years, but I think it helps Jay. Obviously, he's reuniting with his boy Rudy Gobert out there,
Right.
So obviously you got that built-in chemistry, I believe. But Minnesota's probably been one of the most disappointing teams this year for me, Jay. I thought they'd be a lot better.
Yeah, me too.
But obviously you're getting a vet there with Conley. You're betting everything on Cat whenever he comes back, and Edwards, who is obviously a phenomenal rookie or a phenomenal second-year player now, I believe.
Right.
So they got the talent, Jay, but they got to figure it out, man. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota.
Me neither, man. I tell you what, for what they gave up for Gobert, they really bought the front on that one.
Yeah, I'm about to say, so far, that's kind of looking like the Russell Wilson-esque trade of the NBA. Am I wrong?
Very much so. No, very, very much so, man. And I think at the end of the day, man, I think Minnesota's really going to regret giving up all those draft picks for Rudy Gobert. But only time will tell, and we shall see. We're going to jump into some final thoughts and get up on out of here and go enjoy our evening, man. So tell me, Logan Landers, babyface.
Yep.
What are your final thoughts?
All right, Jay, just kind of browsing through ESPN here. Two things I want to bring up to you. Talking about women's basketball, Jay, we all know UConn has been a force to be reckoned with for eons now. Jay, did you know that for the first time in 30 years, they have now lost back-to-back ball games?
That's crazy. I saw that.
They
That
lost
is
to
crazy.
South Carolina, who is the top-ranked team, number one right now. And then they got upset against Marquette, I believe, the other day. So that is insane. I had to double check that, man. But yeah, 30 years before, and not even like a 3-game lose streak, just 2 games in a row is wow. And it's not even like they're having a bad year. They've only had, I believe, 4 losses on the year. So they're still doing great. Also, another thing too, seeing here, Jay, Brett Favre, who has been just, oh boy, we have not said a lot of good things about Brett Favre lately. Jay, Brett Favre is suing Shannon Sharp along with Pat McAfee for defamation. Let's see. Trying to just kind of skim through this here. Let's see. Favre's lawsuit. Hold on, who's this? Let's see. Yeah, sorry. 3 separate defamation lawsuits against. Oh, so it's Shannon Sharp, Pat McAfee, as well as state auditor Shad White.
Wow.
So let's see. His lawsuit against White, whose office first discovered the fraudulent spending that led to the criminal charges against 6 people, accuses White of, this is a quote here, shamelessly and falsely attacking Favre's good name, end quote, in order to advance his political career. Also saying White has made egregiously false and defamatory statements accusing Favre of stealing taxpayer funds and knowingly misusing funds designed to serve poor folks, the lawsuit states. Oh my goodness, Jay. So
that's a whole lot to take in and unpack.
And I'm trying to see here. Okay, so he's suing Shannon Sharp. He alleges, this is a quote here, obviously, alleges that Sharp defamed Favre by saying on his broadcast that Favre was a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low, and that Favre stole money from people that really needed the money. Okay, now let me find McAfee's. Similar allegations, right? According to the lawsuit, McAfee called Favre a thief who was stealing from poor people in Mississippi on his sports podcast.
I mean, hey,
God.
I know that I guess he has to go to court on that, but look, you saw the emails, you saw what was happening. What it's right there in black and white. Nobody made it up. I mean, you just call it what it is.
And
he's just commenting on leaked information. It is what it is.
Jay, this is just not a good look at all. He just keeps slinging mud on his once storied career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it looks like a guy that's desperate and he's just grasping at straws. He looks desperate and grasping at straws. That's what Favre looks like right now.
Yeah, and
man.
So I don't think. I mean, I don't know if these are going to go anywhere. Just because. Why? Also, Jay, why would he do this? Is it to help pay off the legal fees he's got to pay, and maybe then some if he is convicted of any of this?
Well, hell, Favre's got money though. It ain't like he doesn't have money.
That's what I don't get.
He's got money. It doesn't. It's not. I mean, if he wants to sue McAfee to make a point, I think he's trying to make a point of it
by suing the media.
I mean, do we really care? No, I don't care. Even if they win or lose against McAfee or not, hey, from what I've seen in those emails, if what the emails are true, he did steal, and he is what he is.
Hey, but suing the state auditor is wild.
That's
the guy who leaked all that. That was insane.
Which makes him even look guiltier because why are you suing the guy that leaked the stuff? Now you're making it look like I don't know.
All in all, right? And obviously, we're not legal representatives or anything. All in all, this is just not another blemish on Brett Favre's career after football, And like I said, that let's not forget, Jay, that Mississippi welfare scandal, that's still going on.
I'm just saying, just because you don't hear enough about it, that just means that means they're on the down low, but it'll resurface back up because somebody's going to have. Hey, if it's true, somebody's going to have to go to court. It's going to have to go to court. It's not over with by
it is.
Oh, I got my final thought. I got what I'm going to ask you. Have you seen? And I thought this was bizarre, where the Saudis are supporting or backing the Women's World Cup.
I did see an article, just like a headline about it. I didn't read super deep into it. So are they? I know it said they were close to a deal. I think. Is it official?
I don't think they've gotten the actual deal done, but
they're in talks.
Deal done. Yeah,
and
all the female World Cup U.S. soccer players are like calling for them to say, hey, why are you allowing them to do this? Given how they treat women in their own country.
Yeah, that and also I saw that what's the name? Omir Usyk, I think, the top, one of the best boxers. Jay, we talked about him the other week.
Yeah,
slightly. I believe he is from the Ukraine, and he came out saying that he doesn't want to see Russia in the world or in the Olympics in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're sitting there waging war on Ukraine,
and that was his whole thing. It's just,
and how would you put him in
war?
That? Yeah, I mean, how would you? When we're all sending troops over to the Ukraine to fight Russia, why would we then do that? But again, at the same time, hey, I hate to bring up a sore spot in the world, but when Hitler was doing his stuff, and Jesse Owens and all them were in the Olympics, and they had it in, I believe it was Munich or whatever. I mean, they kind of did the same thing for him, right? So,
right.
The world has a history of doing bizarre, weird things.
Yeah,
and none of it makes sense at all.
No, and obviously it's stuff that we're never going to understand. It's a lot of stuff that people who are in that field know a lot more than us. But yeah, I'm trying to find out what the deal is, Jay, for the Saudi Arabia supporting the World Cup and whatnot, the Women's World Cup sponsorship. So it looks like that might be for 2030.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm seeing here. So not obviously, in 6-7 years, but that's kind of weird. Alex Morgan, soccer star, she called it bizarre, which I think that's the best word to describe it, Jay. It is bizarre.
It's bizarre. It's weird. It really is weird because that's the last sport that you think that they would sponsor.
Yeah, and it's the sponsor, the group, or whatever you may call it, the company is Visit Saudi. So that is what the ad would be for, I believe. Which from what I'm just kind of seeing, it looks like it's just saying tour here, basic tourism, travel, yada 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 jargon. Interesting, Jay.
Honestly, there's
crazy world.
Stuff. I mean, if you look at Live real quick when we get out of here. But look at Live. I mean, they're actually reporting that they haven't made a profit off of what they did last season. They didn't make a profit. So what's that?
Bro, they're paying these guys hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
So I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. Like business wise. it doesn't make sense. If you're not making a profit, why are you paying all these people this money and you're not making a profit? But and eventually, the PGA, I think, is going in on a lawsuit against LIV. So there's a lot of things that's getting ready to go down with LIV. It's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out.
Yes, it is, man. We'll see what happens.
Saudis, boy, I tell you what, they're making noise in all kinds of weird ways. That's all I know.
Yeah, and also one more thing before I get out here. Yeah. I know, we're trying to get a little bit more into hockey. The New York Rangers. I think I sent you guys a screenshot of this earlier.
That. I was going to do some digging on that for the next show, but yeah,
New York Rangers. Like I said, we'll just bring it up real quick. They get Vladimir Tarasenko from the St. Louis Blues. Obviously, I know Tarasenko's a solid player, and I mean, hey, good work for New York. Now, is Frankie an Islanders fan or is he a Rangers fan? No, actually, no, forget that. He's a Bruins fan, Jay. I always forget. Yeah. I don't know if it's New York. I don't know if it's Boston.
You assume that because he lives in New York, but
exactly, it's confusing.
But Frankie, he floats between the states, man. Sometimes he's Massachusetts, and sometimes he's New York, so he doesn't really know.
Yeah, it's
he's an anomaly.
Yes, he is, but hey, we love him for it though.
Hey, trust me, man. Listen, I'm uncle to his nieces. I can say about that, and he'll probably say some same thing about me. Hey. We're all our own little anomalies in the world. Let me tell you. All right, man. Let's wrap this up. Hey, guys. Look, speaking of Frankie C. Foxborough Frankie the Yankee, and I don't know what the Brewer Frankie would be, but we'll just call him Brewer Frankie. He does a really good job over there on Twitter, supporting us and doing his thing over there with Unscripted Guys, all one word. So if you want to find us on Twitter, we're at Unscripted Guys, and then if you want to find us on TikTok, Logan is killing it over there as well on TikTok, and it's Unscripted Sports. Just like it looks on the screen, all one word. Check us out, man. I'm telling you, man, these guys are really, working pretty hard on getting you guys current information, up-to-date information, and entertainment. So check us out. We will be back on Saturday. Check us out, man, and you guys have a good night. Logan, it's been a pleasure, brother.
Yes, sir, as always.
Hey, go Astros. We're I think 4 or 5 days away from
I think the 13th.
XFL, and then we are also a few days away from catchers and pitchers. So,
hey, we're heating up, Jay. It's cold outside, but we're heating up soon.
Man, we are definitely heating up. All right, man. Slogan, Babyface, Jay McLovin, poor Jay, as they call me. We out of here. Y'all have a good night.